Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razek at CMTrading. Today's April 5th, 2019, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the major economic events today, it is the first Friday of the month, which means NFP coming out of the United States. So they're going to be at 2:30 South African time. So be aware of it. Now, the markets are in anticipation of this number. Now, looking at the Forex symbols, it's a lull before the storm. It's quite quiet before the storm. That's more correct to say. And so looking at the indices as well, the Dow Jones is trading at the top of the range. The DAX and the JSC all got stronger. Okay, and this may be a turning point, okay, to our massive correction that we had since December 25th. Now, looking at the commodities, gold is pretty much flat in anticipation of the number. Oil retraces to support, nothing really tremendous there. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it's holding steady after this massive rally above 5,000 earlier this week, and that's actually a positive sign. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. Okay, we're taking a look here at the Euro USD in a 4-hour chart. As you can see, we've been really trading in a relatively tight range over the past couple of weeks, and this is really indicative of being at closer to the bottom of the range, looking that we're gonna possibly challenge this threshold at the support level of 112. Okay, so with that said, the markets are really quiet right now before the number, but I do expect some volatility in either direction. Okay, now if we look at a daily chart, you can see that it's just consolidating here, just mildly here at the bottom of the range. If we look at a weekly chart, it's dead. Okay, and it looks like it's going to break further down. Okay, however, I don't want to celebrate that too quickly or before the number. I want the number to actually come out and see what we can expect, because if there's a correctional move in the United States, then we could see this bounce. Okay, however, if there's not, then we could see it sell off quite sharply. Okay, so looking at the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Now, the GBP USD is a little bit more difficult to trade with the USD because Brexit is still lingering in the background, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go away ever. I mean, this has been lingering for over 2 years to almost 3 years now. Okay, with massive corrections in the GBP, and it's not in a tight range, and the GBP looked like it was getting a little bit stronger, and then it kind of changed its character a little bit. Not to say that it got weaker, but it looks like it's trading within a specific range, the upper range of 132.64 and the lower range of 130. Okay, which is about a 264 pip range. Okay, now we're trading almost in the lower middle part of that, okay, which is not really entry level. Okay, there's no places to really enter this, even if you think that it's going to bounce here from 130.94ish level to 131.70ish level. I mean, this is really very, very difficult to pick. Now, looking at the Aussie dollar, though, okay, this is quite interesting because it is trading at this threshold. Okay, 71.26. Okay, is where we are right now. So if we break above this, we could see it go up all the way to 71.90ish. Okay, considerably. Okay, so keep that in mind as this trades later today. Now, looking at the commodities, all right, let's start with oil. Now, oil broke down from this support level, the support trending level, right, from last Thursday. We mentioned that, and then we had a decent sell-off earlier this week, and then a correctional move. But look at it. It's not breaking above 12.93, which seems to imply that it's got relative weakness here. Okay, and with that said, we're trading at 12.88 right now. This may correct itself on the downside if it does break this level of 12.85-ish level, and we could see it back to the 12.80-ish level. Now, looking at the parameters, we have resistance at 13.12, and somewhere around 12.70 is the next support level. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that those are your two levels to look at. Okay, now mostly looking at the NFP, the one thing I would consider to focus my attention most on is the Dow Jones. Okay, the Dow Jones is really, the pulse of the financial markets in the United States. Now we're looking at a weekly chart of the Dow Jones, and you can see that we're mildly, I mean, we're only about 450 points from our all-time highs, okay, and just shy of that after we made this double top from last year in going into November, and then that massive sell-off that we got right here in December 25th, and then correcting that as that capitulated and continued trading higher, and now we're trading close to our all-time highs. So if the number is really positive, this could push this even further than our all-time highs, okay? And the stocks might play catch up until that actually happens. So just be aware of it, especially if there's a correction in Germany, okay, and we've somewhat skirted away some of the recessionary fears. This may have a correctional move on the upside later today if the number comes out really good. So just be aware of it. Now looking at the DAX, same story. We had a massive rally here. It's above 12,000, which is really very important. Now I'm looking at a weekly just because excuse me, on the monthly, just because this area is seeming to be very important if we break above it. Now, number one, we have the 30-day moving average right there. And number two, we had a resistance here once before. So this area breaking above 12 up to 12,300 would be my next real threshold to break, okay? And if it does break it, then that means we can consider going up to the 13,000 again. Now, I don't want to celebrate that too soon because I want to see this actually wait and have some sort of follow through before we say that to be the case. Now, the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned with the bullish side is that the stocks are not breaking higher. If I look at Bank of America, it's trading sideways. If I look at Alcoa, it's trading sideways, okay? It's at the top of the range, but it's not really breaking higher. If it was up here, I would say, wow, that's an easy layup. That means that the markets are really strong, but it's not. It's trading somewhere there. So I think the stocks are just waiting to get that confirmation from the general market before they take higher, okay? Looking at Bank of America, this is what I was talking about before. Again, it's trading within this range, not closer to its 3175-ish area, okay, which I would have expected it to be, just shy of its all-time highs. Now, looking at Apple, it's strong, trading at 195, just shy of that 200. If we do get that positive number, maybe we will challenge that 200. The 200 is a big psychological number as that actually fluctuates throughout the summer. Now, looking at Bitcoin, okay, now this is what I was talking about before, and I think that we still have an area to trade here in Bitcoin between excuse me, 47.91 is your support level. So if that is actually breached, you want to be out of this, okay? However, on the higher side, 49.93 is your next resistance. So we're trading right in the middle of that. Okay, so I don't like to jump into a position right in the middle of a position in the middle of a range. So I'd like to wait until this actually creates in either direction before I jump in. Okay, very important to understand. So you're trading right in the middle of that right now, okay? Now, so looking at some of the news outlets, no one is really exactly sure why Bitcoin actually bounced like this, but it did show strength, okay? If you look at this area right here, this was solid buying, and I mentioned this about 2 weeks ago before this actually happens, or rather at the beginning of last week I mentioned it, because it was slightly going above 4,000 for the first time, and then it really bounced above it. So the fact that it's traded all the way up here is correctional. It still has more correction on the upside. The true value of Bitcoin is yet to be seen as it is become more of a prevalent currency in the regular markets. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.